Hi, my name is Teresa Pichano, and as a pet peeve, I've got several of them, but one of them is when we slurp. It could be slurping soup, it can be slurping food. So there they are, and they're like, nom, 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 yum. So it's not only slurping, it's making all kinds of other types of noise. Maybe keep this in private and don't do it in restaurants or with your family and friends.
Hello, my lovelies! This is Jenny from Jenny's Fun Facts. We just want to take a moment to thank you so much, P Eats Meal Preps, for sponsoring our episodes. New menu out every Friday, order by Sunday, delivered fresh by Tuesday. And guess what? They deliver to all Montreal surrounding areas as well. Healthy, fresh, and delivered to your door for free. Add them and our podcast on Instagram at p.eats_. P as in Peter, R-E, P as in Peter, S. Thanks, P Eats Meal Preps.
Welcome to Noon Hour Out of the Box, episode 34. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Your constant love and appreciation is so honored by the two of us. A huge thank you to Jenny DuHaime, our producer, who makes all this happen. And I also want to give a shout out to the Chinese community. It is their New Year. Happy New Year. And in fact, it is also February 2nd, 2022. So it's 2222 Day. A huge thank you to my co-host, mentor, and good friend, Mr. Robert D'Alessio. How are you, Robert?
I'm absolutely fabulous. And before we go any further, let us not forget that it is the year of the tiger. For the Chinese community, our friends are tuned in out there. Thank you so much for being such a support to ourselves personally and to our show as well. And also, let us not forget, it's Groundhog Day out there.
Yay! Do you remember that film, Groundhog Day? Did you ever see that?
Bill Murray.
Yeah, exactly. Where he kept repeating the same day over and over. Kind of like the pandemic, right? Am I right?
Speaking of the pandemic, I'm twisting my tongue over here. The pandemic has got me going crazy here. The pandemic in March is going to be 2 years.
I know.
We've been stuck in this. And, it's funny, we tend to forget how long it's been. We know it's been a very, very long time.
It has.
But I'll tell you one thing. The Liquor Commission has sold a lot of booze.
Yeah, that's for sure. Some people did do well. That is for sure. So, Robert, today we are talking about toxic relationships. Now, when we talk about relationships, we're not only referring to romantic relationships here. It could be with a friend, a coworker, and even a family member. And I'm sure we've all experienced this. I myself had an experience with a very close friend who over time became quite toxic. And I would often feel like I was not living up to their moral standards. I would feel judged. And I actually felt uncomfortable speaking to them. And I would actually physically feel unwell after having a conversation with them. And I came to realize over time that this, in fact, was toxic. Regardless of how much I loved this individual, remaining in a friendship was difficult. It did not make me feel good. It actually made me feel unwell. And this is more prevalent than we realize. I don't know about you, Robert. Have you experienced this yourself?
Sure, I've experienced it, not in the same way as you, but I remember an ex-family member, and to this day, I've known this fellow for the past, at least 40 years. Toxic, you say, every time I met this person, how you doing? How's everything? Always, I'm doing bad. I have a toothache, I have a backache, I have this, I have that. The tenant upstairs is driving me crazy. The other guy ran into my car. and my kids are this, that. Look, negative. I would walk out of there. I'd be drained totally. And after the second word that was pronounced in the conversation, it was already very, very heavy to be around this person. So I know a thing or two about toxic relationships.
Yes, individuals like that can actually be emotional vampires, and they actually can drain you, but don't give anything back. So so they're sort of taking in the abundance of emotion from you, and they have nothing to give in return. And that is toxic as well.
I love the way you said that.
Yeah, the emotional vampire.
The
I know.
emotional why didn't we call our show that? It would have been so fitting. It sounds so Hollywood.
Yeah, well, it's part and parcel of what a toxic relationship is. So let's check out what is a toxic relationship. So a toxic relationship is one that makes you feel unsupported, misunderstood, demeaned, or attacked. On a basic level, any relationship that makes you feel worse rather than better can become toxic over time. And this is from verywellmind.com. Toxic relationships can exist in just about any context: friends, coworkers, or romantic partners. You may even deal with toxic relationships among your family members.
Signs you're in a toxic relationship: you don't feel safe, you have bad or non-existent communication, you feel neglected and exploited, you feel like you've lost yourself, judgment, not curiosity, is the norm, you feel belittled and ashamed, you don't receive empathy, and you're playing a dysfunctional role.
Wow, also true. So here are some steps for coping with a toxic relationship. Talk to the other person about what you're witnessing. Discuss what you see as a problem and decide together if you want to change the dynamic to ensure that the both of you get your needs met. Reevaluate your relationship and ask yourself, is this person causing real damage to my self-esteem and overall mental health?
Here are some steps for coping with a toxic relationship, and this will be part 2. Limit the time you spend with people who bring frustration or unhappiness into your life. If you decide to talk about your concerns, use I feel statements when describing your feelings and emotions. Realize that some toxic people simply are unwilling to change. Try to non-confrontationally stand up for yourself when the situation warrants it.
Yes, absolutely, Robert. And we have to make sure that we distinguish between abusive and toxic, where when you're in an abusive relationship, it's a lot more about control. And as opposed to the obvious physical abuse, there's a lot of mental abuse that occurs as well. And we see that in controlling behavior, preventing someone from seeing their friends, controlling their finances, controlling even what they say and how they dress, gaslighting them. There are, so many different aspects of it, but there is a distinct difference between the two, but sometimes the two are combined. So it's something definitely to look out for. And if you feel uncomfortable, you have to question what's going on.
You spoke about control. I wonder how pilots feel. They're being controlled by air traffic controllers.
Yeah, but that's a good kind of control. That needs to be done 100%. Well,
it's a safety net. And like you were saying about the toxic relationships, a lot of times it's jealousy. People just can't hack your success.
That's true. That does happen as well. So there's some of that toxicity does occur because of jealousy and, similar types of emotion, admiration, and it can turn ugly. And it's unfortunate because, friendships and relationships in general can be deeply affected by that type of behavior.
There's one thing I learned: if you really want to know someone, and sometimes it happens naturally, automatically. I'll give you an example. If you have a project, you're discussing the project, you've been talking about it for a long time, and you want to do it, and it's time to do it, then you do it, and the other person keeps procrastinating. That could be a subject for a show coming up sometime. And not only does he procrastinate or she procrastinates, it just doesn't get done. So you get fed up and you take the bull by the horns yourself. You want to do it yourself. You go on and do it, and that person becomes offended, jealous, and what have you. And then there's a friction that develops between both of you.
Absolutely. That is definitely part and parcel of what can cause that 100%. If you don't keep your word, that is another form of toxicity.
Well, exactly. Absolutely. Esther, our show, unfortunately, we don't have like hours and hours. We got to get moving along over here. We have a presentation for the audience. Recently, you spoke with a young fellow from the United Kingdom. You interviewed him.
Yes, I spoke to a young man from the UK named Michael Anchors. He is neurodiverse, and he has created a 5-part documentary where he talks about his experience with toxic relationships and bullying. In addition to that, he also created a song for that documentary as well. So let's take a listen.
Let's take a look.
Have you had any experience in your own life with toxic relationships?
Yes, I have. At first, it was a good friendship, but the sort of toxicity, like, it was a lot of ups and downs, lasted from, say, partway through 2020 till partway through, say, till September 2021, really, affected me.
Yes, I understand. So apparently from that, you created a docu-series, correct, called Fabulous and Fascinating? And apparently there's going to be 5 episodes. Tell us about that.
It's going to be 5 episodes. It's basically going to be about different aspects of friendships, a different kind of friends. So online friends, challenges. It covers basically different types of friendships and some of the challenges that I've been through with them. So it's a very personal journey, and I've already filmed the first episode, but I will be filming the other episode. But it's sort of basically telling my story about some friendships, but also giving advice to people about friendships. Sort of was inspired by the song. So, because I've done several songs before, as you remember, last year I did an EP which was about friendship as well. So I really thought, why not do a docu-series about friendship?
I think it's wonderful that you're doing that. In addition, you also wrote a song for the documentary called All in Act.
I was not sure what to do a song about. And then he's like, we could do a song about heartbreak. At the time as well, I've been sort of out of a toxic friendship basically. So the song is about a toxic friendship that I went through. It tells the story of how me and that friend met and how the toxicity led into that friendship, and expressing my emotions through a song. But it's also about hoping other people have been through any. It doesn't have to be a toxic friendship, whatever toxic relationship that they've been through, to let them know that it's okay, and hopefully other people can sort of think about their own experiences with toxic friendships.
I have some of the lyrics here, and they're quite powerful. And what you've written here in the chorus, you say they never really cared. In fact, it was an act. They almost drove you to the end of the knife, but that's okay. Now that toxic person is out of your life. What do you mean by that?
Even still to this day, I don't know what that friendship what was it? Was it real? Was it not? Because to me, it doesn't. A lot of people would say, well, clearly it's not, because clearly that person said stuff about you, and when you weren't there and all this. So clearly it wasn't that. And when I say end of the night, obviously, because, well, not me personally, I never felt suicidal, but I want, but when the person who helped me wrote the song put that in there, I thought that was really good to keep in. So it's because you don't know how toxic relationships or friendships, whatever, can affect people's mental health. And I was like, yes, that it would perfect song. So I got rid of that toxic person, and now I have this amazing song that I've got. And and my life is so getting rid of toxic people, toxic energy, whatever you want to call it, is really good, because it just makes you feel like you can start a new, whether it's a new year or whatever, or new month or whatever, and just trying to move on. You may never forget what happened, but if you can try and move on from it in the best way possible.
It's interesting that from something so difficult, there is in fact a silver lining. And in your case, it inspired this wonderful song, which can be found on YouTube. Is that correct? On Michael Anker's music channel?
So yes, the audio and the official music video can be found on YouTube, Instagram, and I'll be re-uploading it to Facebook. And also, if you want to check out the audio, it's also available on SoundCloud and Instagram, which is the same as my YouTube, which is my flagship music. So if anyone wants to listen to it on, it's available on multiple platforms.
Fantastic. Again, we will be able to view it, the docu-series by Michael called Fabulous and Fascinating. There will be 5 episodes, and the first one will be airing. Is it on your YouTube channel?
Yes, it will be available on my YouTube channel.
On Sunday, February 6th, it'll be 7 p.m. UK time. So for those in Eastern Standard Time, it will be 6 hours earlier, I believe. But it will remain on your channel so people can view it at any time.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on and talking about your experience with toxic relationships and how you've taken that difficult situation and in fact created a docuseries and this incredible new song. So congratulations on that. And we can't wait to watch it.
Well, that was a pretty nice interview, and I just wanted to bring a correction. Okay, Michael Ankers. Well, the name of his series is Fabulous and Fascinating Friendships. Michael Ankers is a wonderful and inspiring young man who also has another series called Awesome Autism on the Bobby Short Shorts platform and on the Michael Ankers Music YouTube channel.
Absolutely. I love how transparent and real he is and how much he loves to talk about it, because not only for his own ability to speak out, but also for others to learn from his own experiences. So it's a wonderful, wonderful initiative.
It's time once again to do that awful thing, Esther. We have to sign off. Unfortunately, time does not permit us for us to go any longer. We do want to thank each and every one of the audience members who have joined us. Thank you so much, Jenny DuHaime, for the wonderful job producing our show as always. Esther, a quick reminder, you're back tomorrow with your show, and you're going to have an amazing writer-producer from Hollywood, California. Tell us a little bit about it before we sign off.
Stephen J. Rubin. He is a writer. He is a producer. He's also a film and TV show historian. He's written several books about the Twilight Zone, James Bond films. He's a fascinating character, and I cannot wait to interview him tomorrow, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Esther's Breeze YouTube channel.
And that's going to be aired live, not only on Esther's Breeze YouTube channel, for all of you fans as well of the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. You can catch it here as well, and also on your personal Facebook page, I understand, Esther.
Absolutely. And afterwards, the audio is extracted and it goes on all live streaming platforms.
Such as Spotify, you got Apple, you got iTunes in there. Wonderful. Esther, next week, we're going to be here at the same place, same time. We're going to be going back again with our friends at outhealth.me. We're going to have another amazing show.
Can't wait.
Once again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this exciting show. Thank you for your participation. Love you. We're seeing the numbers. The numbers are going up. Your support is so appreciated. Thank you so much. We do this all for you. Thank you, everybody, and have a great week. Bye now.
Bye-bye.